You're listening to the Hagman Report, where truth can't be silenced. Stan Deyo from standeyo.com.
I'm going to show you what a gravitational field looks like here. Okay. Do you see how the Earth in the middle, that blue globe, is depressing space-time? That's what they call that grid that we're looking at. Space-time is depressed by the gravitational field of Earth and the moon. You can see in the upper right-hand portion of that. Well, all right, big deal, you say. So I say, okay, I want you to look at what I was able to produce. Let's see, where have we got this here? Okay, now they're too close together here, but they do attract each other. And this is, the big one is Earth, and the lesser size is, of course, the moon. Still in this Coke bottle video that I made. Now, I'm going to annoy you for just a bit, I think, here. I'm going to put up the short video of that, if it'll show here. There we go. See how the waves are vibrating and how they're all interlinked? The fluid of space solution is a much more complex, a horribly complex mathematical equation, even with supercomputers. There you can see the table and how it's vibrating it. And but this does show that the true way to analyze the structures and their behavior in our universe is to use fluids and how fluids behave. See, I created that thing there just by vibrating an off frequency. And there are things that repel when their gravitational fields are different. So anyway, oh gosh, lots of things to talk about today.
That's pretty impressive. I like that. Well, what does that show? Obviously it shows the complexity, but the space-time, relative to space-time continuum.
Well, space-time is the way they've looked at observed results and bending of space-time, bending of light rays and gravity and things like that elsewhere in the universe relative to us. So this is the way, based upon a mistake they made in Einstein's equation, and also in what he took from Michelson-Morley experiment, right, which showed that there was no ether space, and that light traveled the same velocity everywhere. Well, they made a mistake there, and I corrected that in the Cosmic Conspiracy book at the back end. I show detailed proof mathematically of where they made their mistake. If they had not done this, then the fluid solutions, the fluid mechanics solutions, would have been way ahead of where we are now. And I suggest that they return to that now and look at space as not space-time, but a fluid whose molecules, if you wish, or atoms, are so small that they're, a million times smaller than our smallest subatomic particle we've been able to detect. And when God created these things, in the Genesis account, he spoke into nothingness. And the force of that speech, into this fluid of space caused huge ripples and vortices. It's like taking a cigar puff, a big jaw full of cigar smoke in a bar somewhere, and blowing it out with great force, and you'll see little curlies form everywhere, little willies and vortices. And in 3D space, this forms galaxies, galactic clusters, star systems, planets, moons. All of these are a result of one initial spoken word from the Creator, which distributed itself in this very calm fluid.
Yeah.
Okay, and that's, you see how it works? I mean, the Bible is telling you the truth. And I got to say, I guess I cheat a bit. It's not my own, clever mind that determined this. When I was out of my body, nearly died, I asked a silly question of God. I said, I was out there and I was seeing all the stars and galaxies and things. And I said, how does all this work? And there was a big download. And it took me a few years and dream revealings or dream assimilation of it to get it all clear. But I saw it all in one burst, which was so much that when I came back into my body, I felt it falling off the sides of my body, and it took a while to reassimilate it, years. But that's where it came from. And I was really shown by the Creator how it all worked. And there are other things involved in that, but that's where it came from. And it makes sense when you look at it. I mean, it's the fluid of space and vibrations in it. And those excessively strong vibrations create curls and spin. And you do not have, quote unquote, gravity without spin around an axis. Every atom has a spin axis. Every subatomic particle has a spin axis. Everything that has gravity has spin. How this happens, that gravity is not a one-dimensional force. It's not just attracting toward the center. Things, depending upon their mass, things orbit a gravitational center, where you have spin, depending upon their mass, the density of the subatomic particles, the atomic particles. So if you were to drill a hole under this hypothesis down to the center of, say, the Earth, there would be a point where the reflected waves, you saw in my Coke bottle thing where there were waves bouncing around that Earth droplet there. There are reflected waves that go down into the core of the planet, and they hit each other, and they bounce back out and hit the density of space, that fine structure we're talking about, fluid. And they're going so fast that they reflect back from space, back towards the core of the planet, meet each other, and bounce back like that. And where these waves coming in to the core of the planet and the waves coming out of the core into space, where these waves meet, they form a lock like that, an overlock. And that is an orbit where a planet, depending upon its mass, will lock into its spin or its orbit around the sun. Ask yourself this: why don't all of these planets just suck into the sun? It's so massive, its gravity is so strong. Why don't we just suck into it?
Good point.
And this is why. It's because we're locked in these overlapping divergent and convergent, like waves going into the Earth, waves coming back out of the Earth. We're locked into that kind of invisible torus or donut around the sun. And every planet, its orbit is where it has to be for its mass. Well, I hope that's somewhat clear.
Very interesting, though. That is really an interesting. When you think about it, especially with the Bible, you bring the Bible into this, and boy, I'll tell you what, Christians, the Christian Bible is right on the money. How can anyone doubt that? And of course, the frequency, the way you explained it. How beautiful is that? I mean, really. Wow.
Well, I hope I made it in less than $5 words, as Holly tells me. Make it understandable, because you got to translate what you see in your mind to what people understand, word-wise and picture-wise. And I hope I did that anyway.
Oh, yeah. And I can't imagine, and being serious, I can't imagine asking the question, how does all this work? And then, the download, it would, I mean, I'll tell you what.
Well, you know what?
It would, yeah, go ahead.
When I was out there and I asked that question and I was shown how it all worked, I remember saying, okay, that's simple. I understand that now. Yes, well, out there it's fine. Your mind is a lot bigger, but when you squeeze back out in that tight little shoe, your body, stuff falls over the side for a long time until you gradually assimilate it. And that's one of the things at the Air Force Academy, when they did a test on us, an experiment with my class back, class of 67, we were given programmed instruction, like to read a book. It would flash on a screen in front of us at several hundred pages a second, and you couldn't blink, close your eyes during the time, and it would go bzzz like that on the screen while you're looking at the screen, and all you would see is gray kind of fluctuations on the screen. But then for days after that, when we slept, it would be assimilating, what we had seen in that the pictures of pages of a book. We were reading this book. And so likewise, what I saw out of my body had to be assimilated over a period of time, which was longer than a few days. It was a few years because of the complexity of all these things. Anyway, that's enough of that stuff.